Hi everybody, welcome to Helly's Abstract Art. As promised, this is the second part of doing the geode on an MDF sheet that my partner cut size. On the back you can see I've done a rim of painter's tape just to protect the edge of it, but I've actually taken off the dam part from the outside because it just wasn't worth it. And I've changed slightly what I'm going to do with my colours. The white is still the Artiste. Then we've got Daler and Rowney metallic green acrylic, which is that one. Then Dr. Martens Bombay Inks green, which is this one. And still the Winsor and Newton emerald green, which is this one. So obviously today, because yesterday it set up so quickly, and I've changed my mind about the colours and how I want them to be, so I'm going to try it slightly differently today, and hopefully I won't actually burn anything today. So let's get started then. So I've just poured a small amount of resin over the top of the glass there, and I decided that because that's a darker area, I think I'm going to do a white outer edge. So let's see how that looks. And I'm using paper cups today because they crush slightly better. It makes it slightly easier to do a smaller pour. Again, just slightly to the outside of where you actually want it to be, and then you can manipulate it as needed. So I quite like that. I'm just going to manoeuvre that with my finger a little bit. And also today I've actually got the hairdryer, rather than burning the resin. I'm going to try the hairdryer instead. So we've got dark, we've got light. I'm going to go, I think, with a metallic actually. Let's see how this. It's the first time I've used this one, so it'd be interesting to see how the colour comes out. And obviously, like I explained before, so we've got the edge of our white. You want to come slightly away from that and then do your pour. Following the contours again. And then using the plastic stick, these I just got from the local pound store. They're what people use when they do planting. You can write on them as to what plant it is, and it wipes off. And I have to say, the resin, even though it dried on it yesterday, it peeled off quite easily, so I was quite pleased with that. So I'm just going to use this to manoeuvre the two colours next to each other, but without mixing, hopefully. So you just give it a little nudge over. You know, if you want your colours to mix, then obviously you could do the colours closer together so that they do mix, but I like to sort of have a little bit more control over mine than that. You know, on some of the geodes that I've done, I really enjoy mixing the colours, but on this one I'm going to try and keep them fairly separate. So I'm just nudging it over so it meets up with the white, and you haven't got bare canvas, so to speak. And obviously where the resin is self-leveling, as long as you've got enough there, it's just going to level itself back out anyway. And you are going to get a certain amount of spread. I mean, luckily today, you know, here it's not as hot as it was yesterday, so I'm hoping we're going to have a little bit more working time. So that's quite a transparent green, and you can actually see the glitter underneath that I did beforehand. So I think we're going to go over the slightly darker green. This is the Bombay Ink green. It's quite a dark one actually, so give it a pinch again, because obviously I've got quite a small gap between where my glass is and where the resin's going to go, so we've got to be quite careful here. Again, it's another quite transparent colour. Take it up closer to the edge of the glass. I'm quite happy for some of that bluey green teal to show through, so I'm not too worried. So it's starting to just sort of roll over to meet each other, which is fine. I'm just going to give it a little nudge where the gap's slightly further apart. And, you know, don't be afraid to make a mistake, like I said yesterday. Happens to all of us. You saw it happen to me. There's always another day. You can always come back, pour again. Yeah, okay, it is expensive and you don't really want to make mistakes, but I'm just saying that if you do make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. There is, you know, you can do something with it. So I'm just tapping that over, getting that to intermingle slightly. I think I might have a line of white going around that because that's quite a subtle change of colours there, where I've got two transparents together. It's quite strange looking. So let's see if we can do a nice pour of white. So again, I just want a little line really. Let's see if we can do it with just the stick. And just lead it round the edge where you want it to be. Following the contour as best you can. Just drizzling it through. Load the stick again, drizzle it on. And then I might give that a run with my stick, just to try and take out the slightly blobbier bits. But what that'll do, that will actually drag in some of the green colour that's already down. And sometimes that makes quite a nice effect, because it kind of breaks that line up slightly. Please excuse my dog Poppy, she thinks she's missing out on something, as usual. So I'm quite happy with that actually. Yeah, I like that one. So I think we're going to go with some of the Winsor & Newton emerald green, and I think we'll take that round the base because we're going on top of the colour that we had there originally. It's just reaffirming that colour again. And because it's quite transparent, you can still actually see the underside of the colour that was there previously, which sometimes makes a really fantastic effect. And I'm just going to tap that out with my finger. And that's going over the part that I burnt as well, which you can't see now, which is fantastic. But it's bringing it all level with what was there. I might use my stick actually. Just bring it out, give it a slight pull towards where you want it to be. And like I say, I'm going to get some drippage over the edge today because I've taken the dam tape off. But because I've taped around the outer edge on the back, it won't actually affect the back side of the MDF. So it will still be protected. So just make sure you haven't got any divots there and you've pulled it where you want it to be. That's better. I think I might actually add a little bit more of the metallic to this because it's not as opaque as I'd like it to be. So I'm just going to do a bit of a glob there. and mix it really, really well, because obviously when you use acrylic paints, if you don't mix it thoroughly, you will end up with globules of paint in there. So that's looking a bit more opaque actually. I prefer that now. So I'm going to take that into the middle again. Just a small rim round my white. Again, just slightly off, but not too far, because I'd be quite happy for that to mingle, I think. Okay, raise it off. And then we're going to do, I think, a rim just round the edge. And this time I'm taking it close to this white, because this is the white that we did yesterday that's set. So I know that they're not going to mingle too badly. I'm much happier with these colours today. They look so much better. I really wasn't happy with it yesterday. So I'm just going to put a little bit there, just to create that line a little bit better with the bluey green there. I feel pretty happy with that so far. So now we're going to do, because the customers obviously asked for a more greeny colour, that's why we're sticking with as many greens as we are. So this one I'm going to take just slightly out. Obviously any blank bits are going to be covered. Like I say, I'm not overly bothered if it does go over the edge, because the MDF is fairly level. We should be okay. Just going to mix a little bit of this down this end as well. Use it all up. Because like I said to you yesterday, you know, in nature, things are not uniformed. Very rarely is nature uniformed in colours and shapes. It's, as humans, we're the ones that like it organised. And straight lines and equal sides. So, you know, don't be afraid to just use up what you've got. Put it where you think you need it, and it'll be just right. So again, my trusty stick, manoeuvre it towards the edge, and I say luckily with the Mastercast, it's quite a thick one, so you can almost pull it to the edge and dome it, so that you don't get the pour over that maybe you would with the slightly more liquidy resins. And that's why I said to you, it is perfect for doing these geodes, because you can do some really nice layers. It's not too liquidy, it doesn't melt in too much to each colour. and it just, I love it, absolutely love it. So as you can see, I'm just dragging it over to the edge. And if some does go over the edge, doesn't matter. You know, you can sand it down. You could actually paint the edges gold if you wanted to. A lot of people do that with their geodes. I do that with my smaller ones. But with the larger ones, where I've pre-painted anyway, I tend to sort of leave them either the white or the black, whatever colour I've decided to. And I'm getting stuck to the resin here. So the thing with this being so wide and me so small. And I can feel that that is starting to become thickened already. So you've got about a 25-minute good working time, I would say, with the Mastercast. So you've got to be fairly quick in what you're doing. That's why I said you have a good idea of how you want it to look. Please excuse my dog Poppy. She still thinks that she should be getting a fuss. Poppy, quiet. Thank you. So I'm actually loving the look of that now. I was so worried about that yesterday. I can feel my white starting to... So I'm going to redo this line around here again. Poppy, quiet. Just dragging it through, doing that lovely thin line again. It's kind of melted down into the green, because you will find that some colours kind of sink, you know, and other colours will sit on top of each other fine. So I want that line slightly thicker, but not too thick. And it's kind of melting out into the other colours there. So I think I'm going to do another white line where that white line was before, just to bring that colour and make it pop. Take it up into here and then taper it off round here. Poppy, quiet. As you can hear, my dog really has attention span issues. She's a little bit of a monkey. Just lucky that I now work from home, so she gets a bit more attention. She didn't used to like being left. And much as I love my dogs, and I have 3, the hairs, oh my god, you have to be so careful with your artwork, because the hair just gets everywhere. It's a nightmare. So I'm just going to streak this a little bit and give it like a vein of the green going through, just to break that up a little bit, because it's looking a bit blobby. Just to melt it into that colour and break up that edge a little bit. I'm actually really liking that. I think I'm going to take that through there a bit more. And as you can see with this, as it's pouring out, what tends to happen is as it gets thickened, it kind of rolls in a strange shape as it's coming out. So you have to be quite cautious with how you manoeuvre it. As you can see there, it rolled over into the green a little bit too much there, but hey. So I'm just going to drag that up, fill in all the divots that we've got. And then I'm going to hit this with the heat gun, or I might use the hairdryer actually. We might be able to get a bit of movement in these colours, make them move around a little bit. And every now and then just sort of, you know, look to the side, check where you've got dips in your resin and just manoeuvre them a little bit. Like I say, I'm going to hit it with a heat gun in a minute anyway, so I'm hoping it will help level those out. Just going to smush that a little bit, just to break up that starkness there, and here as well. I think just manoeuvre that around a little bit. Same here, kind of dragging your stick through. And as you can see, it's almost marbling the green that's there. It just looks so beautiful. And this is what I love about resin, is the, you know, the different effects that you can get. Sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's not.